I just hit live. Hello, everyone out there. Hello, hello. So excited to be here with you for another Monday. So happy Monday. I am Monica Henderson, and I am the founder and creator of MinkLife Motivation. And we are here to really dig in. So let's get this party started, shall we? So welcome to MinkLife Motivation Live. My name is Monica Henderson, like I said, and I come here every week to help you with personal business, brand, and network development. And we do that so that you can get motivated, stay inspired, keep networking, and gain knowledge so that you can live a life designed by you, for you, healthier, wealthier, and fulfilled. As we dig into yet another Monday show, I just wanted to say that I'm beaming about everything that happened this weekend. So this week, we're going to talk about Ready, Set, Activate. We're going to talk about the next global virtual conference and how we were able to fill our funnels and really build them and fortify them. And I can't wait to dive into this topic with you. So let's get motivated with our motivators. On this show, we have Andrea Gewirtz, and she is the Wellness Thrive Strategist at WellBeing and Worth. And she's also a MinkLife Motivator Master Trainer and the Dean of MinkLife University. Marcia Mercay is our usual co-host, but she is not here with us in person, but she is within spirit. And so, hello, Marcia. I love you, girl. See you soon. And we have Peggy Warny, our newest co-host to join the MinkLife Motivation Live panel. And she is the owner and photographer at Headshots by Peggy, and also the dynamic speaker at the next global virtual conference. And I'm going to bring on a very special guest. Oopsies. I'm going to bring on a very special guest, Val Lowe, who is also a dynamic speaker, a business strategist, and really just an all-around badass. So welcome to the show, Val, again. We are so happy to have you on again. Hey, ladies.
Hi there.
Hey. How are you feeling? We spent all weekend together and we are here again in the boxes.
Well, it's good to see you all again under, more relaxed timings, no clock. Well, there is a clock, but it's not the clock. For all my radio friends who know I'm obsessive about clocks, like clock, 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 time. Do you know what time it is? We've got 2 minutes. So I didn't have to do that this time, though. So it was very unusual for me, my experience at the conference. I was a quasi guest.
Nice. Peggy, what about you? How are you feeling after the conference weekend?
I had no stress with the conference weekend. I don't know what she's talking about. These conferences run like clockwork always. Even the little, what you think a little technical flub up or something is so minute. These always are from the very first one, which we were all new at Zoom, your first conference. And I was just like, how is this running? Like, how do you have this many people doing this many things and we're always on schedule? It's mind blowing. So yeah.
There's a psychotic in the background.
There's a crazy.
The initial psychotic was me. That's why I had to have to have my debrief of, well, I wasn't doing that. It was beautiful, and it was just like you said. They're getting better and better. And I can't come from me saying that because that seemed biased, right? But from you who were like, pitching in from the beginning, but not backstage, like, is this going to work?
I have thoroughly enjoyed being part of the conference in the way that I am part of the conference, which means I can just pop in and pop out whenever I want. I'll be there on time to do your speech, be there on time for the panel, and I'm just like enjoying it. It is so many good things came out of this weekend. I had a notebook right here with me that's just full of notes. It was an amazing weekend, as it always is. But I don't know, this weekend had a different, maybe because we're just in that gel, but this weekend had a different feel to it than the others. It just really, it was good.
Yeah. Val, what about you? This is your second conference. How are you feeling today?
Oh, great. And you're talking about being on time. And I just realized because everything was smooth and went on time, I could focus in on the information and the speakers. Oh my goodness, they're just great speakers. Wow. It's really,
I will
really
say that
good
even
experience.
though I planned it, you always kind of plan and hope. The speakers this time blew me away. Like I knew that they were great at what they did, but I did not expect the level of like I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. There were some serious shockers from people where I was like, "That's in you? That's amazing!" And I learned so much, and I was like trying to take notes in between things because there were some. I'm really excited to be able to have the playbacks. So look, we're going to dive some more into all of this, but welcome, guys. I'm so excited. I hope our audience who is watching, if you were on the conference this weekend and you're watching this right now, please chime in the chat. Let us know what you think. I'm gonna try and see if I can slide over and see what your comments are. But if you were there at any point in the conference and you want to chime in on this conversation, by all means do so right there in the comments. So the first question that I have for you all is, what are you motivated to do now? Right after the conference, after we talked about being activated and you went through the 6 sessions, you heard the 24 panel discussions, you got a chance to pop in and out of different groups, of different breakout sessions. What are you motivated to do now after the fact? Who would like to go first? Let's start with maybe Val.
Oh gosh, I was hoping you'd leave me to the end because there's so many pieces. So many pieces and such great information. Just digging more into my brand and customer service. Monica tasked me with customer experience, and it's not something that I've really spent a lot of time in, although that's, pretty core to what we do. But just digging in, greater customer experience, better brand, and just all those things. Peggy shared some great things about looking good. One of her comments was handshake to the world. So I'm thinking, oh yes, just standing up and being more presence, more of a leader oh my goodness, and lots of other goodies I took away.
Yeah, I love that you kind of bring up that like, so you were challenged by the presentation that you were supposed to do. And you also, as a presenter, then learned so much from others that were presenting. And I think a lot of the times when I'm talking to people about what the conference is, and I'm like, to come and learn, right? You're going to teach, right? But then also come and be a student. I think sometimes they don't necessarily kind of hear it until they get there and they're like, oh, I got it. And so I love that you like kind of pulled that out as something. When we were creating this, my prayer for everything that I do is that everyone learns, right? I learn, the people who are on the panels learn, the people who come and learn, right? Like if everyone equally gets something out of this experience, we really will kind of be like collectively better when we leave. And so I love that you're like, yeah, no, Peggy told me to do something. And I was like, yeah, okay, I got to focus on that. And then I taught myself something, so I'm gonna focus on that as well. Which when I chose you for customer experience, it made sense to me because, as my business coach, we have conversations all the time about customer experience. So I was like, no brainer, put her in customer experience. But sometimes I found when I've tasked someone with something that I see in them, but sometimes they didn't actually see it in themselves. And so I knew you would do fine. But I'm glad that it stretched you. Yeah. So, Andrea, what about you?
What am I motivated to do now? Well, I have a lot more networking to do. For me, after each of them, we get busy. We're in the doing of creating the next product or creating our own individual products or teaching our product, this product, and I'm teaching another product. And so I came out of this conference like, I really want to get to know many of the speakers better. And I think the influence booster, it's so funny. We're about to teach that in MinkLife coming up next week. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to rework it and redo it with the conference in mind. Like, I love that you can always reach back into a principle and work through something that you're not necessarily satisfied with. And so I just met so many people and heard so many good nuggets from, like, oh, I didn't know you knew that. Oh, let's have a little coaching session or whatever we're going to call it, a virtual tea or chat or coffee. So my goal is to really reach out and get to know a lot of them as providers and as people of excellence in their field, because people really brought such good information. They really shared so generously, that I'm humbled that they did that with us, right?
You're absolutely right. The comment that we kept seeing in the chat was like, "That's a nugget." That's a nugget.
I mean,
So
and
many
just
nuggets, right?
giving away really like how to approach things very procedurally without the grabbiness of buy this or do that.
Mm-hmm.
That is not in this conference, and that is why it's such a lovely, expansive growth summit of sorts. Conference, it should be more like a summit mastermind, but it is a conference because you're there all day and you're changing hall passes and you're doing this and you're doing that. So you get a lot of experience. But yes, for me, it's definitely, and I thank everyone who's watching that's already reached out. I'm coming. I really am, truly, this time. So.
Yeah. The networking part, in Mink, motivate, inspire, network knowledge. That was really important, right? But what was interesting was I did not expect them to be so giving just on a panel discussion. Like, they literally gave a blueprint. First you do this, then you do this, then you do this, and then you do this on a panel discussion. I have never, in all of the conferences I've ever been to, it has always been this like higher thought of like, well, this is why you should do something, but never the how. And they were literally competing on who can give the
better
most
tips. Yeah, I did feel a lot of that. I was like,
to achieve something. It was bananas. And I was just sitting there like,
I was like, thank you. I'm going to do
really
that.
happening? And then they dropped it in the chat.
That's what I was going to say. It was like one person would give like one, two, three, and then the next person would give it. And then the first person would be like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to put it in the chat.
Yeah.
It was insane.
I felt the same way. I was like, it almost felt like, no, I've got more to give away right now than you do. I've got 60 seconds and you've watched me give them my hour, conference that I sell for free in 60 seconds. You watched me do it. It almost felt like that. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was, they were really competitive about helping. And I'm like, everyone wins on this competition. Everyone won in this competition. It was great. And I was gonna add to that, and I just lost my train of thought. But it was bananas how many people that we now have to go back and like use their special offers. Everyone was so generous with their special offers as well. And then we're still giving special offers. Like when I tell you that like we had closed that window of like, okay, thanks for your special offers. And they're like, wait, no, I have some more things I want to give away. And they kept giving us things to give away in this space. And it just, every single other conference I've ever been to, we kind of all know the formula, right? You're like, you go on the panel, you entice them to want to buy your program, you give them just enough so that they are smarter, but that they can't do anything with it, so then they can buy my stuff. And that's kind of I think the program that most people are sold when they're told how to market yourself on a conference stage. And no one did that. Not a single solitary soul on any of these panels followed any of those rules. They threw all that out the window. They're like, look, let me break it down to you. This is how you get it done. And it was just it was like, wowzers. It was so amazing. I was blown away, because I really did expect people to, I asked them to come from a place of contribution, but I never thought they would be as generous as they were. Peggy, what about you? What are you motivated to do now?
Well, I think it's kind of an enlightening. So I've always kind of thought of myself as a really good communicator. Like I felt like that's kind of what I do. Like I, you know, doing events and different things, like I can go in and own 250 people and get everybody to do what I want, and, you know, and get what I need. As far as getting, you know, getting the right pictures and the images. And so I've always kind of thought like, yeah, I get how to connect to people. Like that's what I do every day, is connecting to people and communicating to people. But someone said, and I'm so sorry that I don't know who, you might remember this, but she said, everybody has different energies. Like you have personality tests, you have all these different tests, but what about an energy test? And I was like, oh, I never thought of that, but it's like obvious, because there's certain energies you just vibe with. Like you're like us, everyone on this room right now, we just all like, hey, you know. And then the other one that was said, and I know for sure, Carmel said this. She said, it's not communicating if the other person's not hearing you. And for some reason, the way she said it, when she said it, was just like, because you know what I mean, because you say something and the other person's hearing nah, 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 nah.
Charlie Brown talk.
Or somebody's talking to you and they may be, you know, in their mind laying this out really simple to you, but you're hearing, you know, it's just nothing. And it was like, oh yeah, it's not communication if the other person, if I'm not speaking to them in their language, and not just English versus, you know, Spanish, but literally their energy language. Like if they're not hearing me for whatever reason, if I'm coming across preachy, or if I'm too excited, or if I'm too monotone, or, you know, whatever that could be, I don't know. It was just mind blowing, because that's an area that I've always thought that I excelled in. And so to just see it from that different aspect was really, really enlightening. I really enjoyed that. I think that was the one, like,
Yeah, so I think Chris was the energy. She actually has a program where she helps you kind of identify your particular energy. So that I know that quote came from her. I was that statement from Carmel in the breakout.
Yeah, it was in the breakout.
I didn't get to hear that, and so that's why I was like, oh
yeah, you got to watch her breakout room. So that was my favorite breakout room of the whole weekend. And it's because of the way she did her presentation, and everybody knows that presentation's kind of my thing. But she put in little movie clips that were hilarious and perfect. Like I would have never thought to do it the way she did it. It was brilliant. And it was very, very much, no matter what angle you learn or hear from, you would be able to hear what she was saying, because she made an example of what, you know, of this is what I'm talking about. It was really good. So yeah, everybody needs to buy the pass if they don't have it. And if you do have the pass, take advantage of the pass and go back and watch it, because I mean, there's so much to watch.
Yeah, so I got
too much to watch.
We had some of them do pre-recordings, and so I did get to see some of the breakouts ahead of time, and I was riveted. I was like, you know, usually I just have them kind of playing and I'm doing something else, and I was like, oh, this conference is gonna be good, because I was like trying to do something else and couldn't because I was like, wait, I want to take notes really quick. And then afterwards, when we were kind of downloading all of the videos and kind of adding them to the email to send out to let everybody know that the playbacks are ready, you know, I got to hear some of the things too, and I was like, oh wow, I'm looking forward to this week of being able to go back and watch the videos myself, because I didn't get to see everybody. So that's super exciting. Okay, so as we kind of, my one job, and sometimes I don't do it very well, is to keep us moving along and help you stay inspired. When we were talking, so this particular conference was about activating the hero within. And the reason why I chose this was really kind of because of all of the noise that we had all been experiencing over the last year, and all of the chaos, and, you know, people talking about like, well, this person needs to help us and that person needs to help us, and how come they're not doing this? And I was like, no, let's stop this. We are in control of our own lives. Let's just activate our own hero, right? And be our own saviors and then activate each other. And so one of the things that we kind of, wanted people to know about the conference is that this conference actually exists, because in this new normal of crazy, which it feels like the world is just crazy all the time, nonstop, 24/7, right? We had to come together collectively to really level up by crafting a strategy on how we were going to do that, to grow ourselves and our businesses, of course. And there was no time like the present, right? There was like, it couldn't have come in a better time. I think at the point that this conference had kind of came this month was at the point where we were all sick and tired of being sick and tired of being in our little boxes. And so I think that might have lended to some of the most amazing magic. But I wanted to ask the question, who was super inspirational to you from the conference?
Oh, that's so unfair.
You can name more than one. You don't have to just name one person. But like, what are some of the characters that were on the conference space that you were like, oh my gosh, you really touched me. You really inspired me.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go
Uh,
take over there.
this is so hard. Because there's several that I didn't get to see breakouts for, but I definitely am like, oh, I have to go hear the rest of that conversation. Because, like Val said, we're all in various places of tweaking our own businesses. I think the people that were the up the ante, the digital, were the people talking about how to be on social media and how to connect and network. So, Damien was new to our group, Damien Nordman, right?
Uh-huh.
His poor
Mm-hmm.
name got butchered every which way.
He
Um,
was so great about it too. I
and
really
he was
appreciate you,
very
Damien.
gracious about it. Like it was in the book one way, it was on his name. It was I was like, oh, sorry, egg on face. But he was great. He and Lee Hicks really did. I think that was in the it all. Sorry everybody. It's all
Oh,
continuum.
I think
That
you're talking about, that was the green panel, I think.
the green
What was,
panel this time was brilliant from beginning to end. Like every aspect of that green panel. I don't know if it's because I'm in this love space. We have a new president. Everyone's being the light. Activate the hero within. It was really talking about really intrinsic connecting, and we really need that now more than we've always needed it. But I think people are really taking that to heart. It really vibed with the conference theme of activate the hero within, and here are tools to do so. And these people were like, here are the ways to do it. And that's where I think my first comment before was like, I was really impressed with people like, this is what you do. This, and this is checklist. You can go out like this. And then they were like, but wait, like you said, that whole exchange. And I said, God bless them for really breaking it down to people, or heavens, whatever you believe in, to really share like how important it is to connect now like this and really make these connections as tangible as they can be, despite their lack of real tangible, like touching, right? So that for me really was people empowering other people to be good at what they do. And so each one of them, because of the space they contributed from, piqued my curiosity to go very much to their talks. And I want to align with them. I mean, I want to align with everyone in the Mink Life community by and large, because there are, I mean, this sounds bad and braggadocious, but bad apples is not it's a testament to how you have gone through and promoted and asked people to participate. So those people, of course, I want to see Carmel's because I couldn't go because I was going to somebody else's that I had never seen before. She always brings the fever, as you would say, Peggy.
yeah,
But so
and
many
she
people
gives you the
delighted.
Tylenol she
The
brings you
Panadol. I
the
just love
Tylenol.
hearing about the Panadol. Like, and Val is so quiet over there. But Val's is on my list, as someone that I've seen the work. I know very intimately the work you're doing. So I'm like, ooh, I gotta go look. So there's a lot of homework for everybody. So, but good homework, really juicy homework, really plug in kind of homework. So I really hope everyone comes back and plays in the Power Partner Mixers. We have a lot of learning to do from one another. I just made a post about my Mink Life crew, and I meant it from the bottom of my heart. Like 2020, people were bored, not me. I was like racing around like a crazy person. And so there are more people to add to that team for the solopreneur. We really have done a good job. Bravo.
That was one of the things Val always asked me. She always asked me to kind of like really identify clearly my intentions and like what is my own superpower, right? Like why does this exist? And like where are you different than other people? Yes, I'm quoting Val back at Val on
On show in front of Val, but we talk. I mean, we say it anyway. She says it all the
but
time, Val.
She really asked me to be super clear about what it is that why is it different to be in our community than others. And one that came out was I wanted to be incredibly protective of the people who come into my space. And so that feeling that like anybody who comes into the conferences, I'm okay to work with them because they've been vetted and they've been, like we have a watchful eye on them and we are really kind of curating. This is not an accidental, like, oh, sign up and just be a part of it. Like I really do the extra hours of getting to know people and their story and why they're trying to do what they're doing and what their intentions are behind it before we give them a platform. We have ceremoniously kind of just, not ask people to come back specifically for that feeling, or if anybody got that kind of feeling from someone. And so I love that you feel like, well, yeah, no, I mean, it's braggadocious, but I could, anybody in the Mink Life universe I can go to, but that makes my heart so happy because that was exactly my intention, was for you to be able to come into our space, into any of our events, and to feel as though if you go in there, there are no vultures or people who are predatory or that you're just going to be sold to for hours on end, but that you're actually going to be able to get the help that you wanted. So I love that. So thank you for sharing that. That is amazing. So what about you, Peggy?
I'm pleading the fifth. There was just too many, and I feel like I didn't get a chance to listen to Val's her speech yet. So I feel like it would be unfair for me to say there's so many things that I haven't heard yet that I just really, again, I know I've said this 3 times, so here's my 4th. The energy of this weekend was different than it's always been good, but the energy, everything was phenomenal. Everything was wonderful. I got, maybe the whole thing didn't resonate, but I got at least a nugget from everyone. Everyone had something that was useful and needed and, important. There wasn't one person I was like, I don't know why they're here. That wasn't the case. I'm excited to watch a lot of the breakout rooms that I wasn't able to be a part of, Val being on the top of my list, because I think what you bring is so important to everyone. I mean, for me, I'm in a creative, like my business is creative. And a lot of times people that are creative tend to run their business like hobbies because they're like, well, I just love what I do. I would do it for free. And they do. And then they're like, I just don't know why I can't make a living. It's because you don't put a price on it. You don't put a value on it. And so understanding how to run a business is probably the most important thing that I have learned and am learning. I've been doing this for 32 years. So technically, I don't necessarily, I always, of course, sharpen my skills and grow there. But business is the thing that really takes a hobby or something that you love to a career and something that you can, sustain a lifestyle from. So I think Val's probably the one that I'm the most excited to hear.
Be prepared to want a hamburger at the end.
Yes.
Just saying.
You know who you're talking to, right?
Yep.
She's our raw vegan person, but that would be hilarious if she wants a hamburger.
Right. If I want a hamburger after that, I'm not sure what that says.
Burger.
Be prepared.
Not hamburger. Burger.
She covers almost everybody. I'm just saying. But yeah, I hear you in that it's unfair. You're like, I don't know what I don't know, so I'm not going to answer. I get that. I totally get that. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted us to have those passes, because so like value is super important to me, but not like, I'm a quality over a quantity person, right? And I am a minimalist in my life. And so because I'm a minimalist, it's not about like having less things, but it's being about hyper intentional about what you bring into your world and into your space. And so when I was creating all of this, I wanted to make sure that the value of it was worth the time, the energy, and what people were going to come in for it. I also don't like doing lip service of like, yeah, you're going to get this, 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 and this. I believe in, you know, kind of like
Underselling,
underselling and over delivering.
yeah.
Really, it's really important to me. And so I hear you. You're like, too much. I'm not going to go there. But I'm glad that you feel that way. There was quite a
I
few.
will say that I was a bit Team Aussie this weekend.
There was a lot of great Aussies, and they were in the middle. I mean, if this is how they're working out in the middle of the night,
At 2 in the
when
morning.
they bring it 3 a.m.
it wasn't even light outside, and they were like, it felt like they were in LA with us. Like it literally felt like they were in the same time zone. You could not tell that they were tired and sleepy, dragging.
I've
brought
it. I've joked with all of the ones that I know from prior conferences and I've had conversations with. I'm like, you're a resounding endorsement of why I might move there. Like, if I could move to one other place in the world, the Australians really are courting my heart. They really are. I'm like, another one I really like to go hang out with. Like, I'm like, geez, Louise. Anyway, I'll have a lot of friends by the time I do get over there. So it's pretty funny. But it's,
by the time we finish with all of this, we'll be able to do a month in Australia, visiting different people every day and not repeating the same person twice. I mean, that would be fun. Going to be coming. Let's do it together, Andrea.
Well,
Peggy's coming too.
I don't get to go anywhere.
No, I was like, wait a minute, I'm right here. You can't plan a friend trip without like right in front of me. I'm here. I can hear you.
She says friend trip. We're gonna be working like crazy people, but just know
that's what we do. That's what we call a friend trip.
And so Monica and I, like, even when we're relaxing, we're like, it would be cute if we're having our once upon a time we broke out of our homes and we met for lunch. It had been a long time.
A long time.
I looked at her kind of like, wow, you look the same.
Oh.
So we're having lunch and we were going to be good and not talk about it. And everything was kind of coming back to it. We talked about our kids, then a little bit of MinkLife, a little bit about my program. So, girl, if you're ready for that, of course you can come. Well, the more the merrier. I've been trying to figure out a play date.
Val, you coming?
I want a play date so bad. I can't wait.
Okay, Val, so you're up. Hot seat. Who was super inspirational to you?
Everyone was inspirational. And I'm thinking about all the comments in the chat from the speakers. There were a couple characters that stood out. One more Orn, man, he just brung it. And one likes to sing
Tommy.
One likes to sing in his Scottish brogue. So I mean, those kind of guys, they kind of stand out. But everybody,
that was Brian.
Yeah,
he actually showed up in a bear suit. If you want to know the backstory behind the bear suit, guys, you're going to have to get the pass and check it out. He showed up in a bear suit.
That was hilarious. There was a lot of fun. There, like you said, Val, you're right. There was just a lot of levity, right, Peggy? Like, that just the flow of it. And I don't know. They're getting better and better. It's awesome. Who else? Who else, Val? Who else do you want? I cut you off. I apologize.
Oh, no, it's okay, because I didn't want to pinpoint anyone other than those characters that just stand out. There's a couple other characters too, and I think you know who they are, but it was just good. I got so many nuggets out of it. Yeah, and it makes me want to come back for more.
Yeah.
Definitely does. And even one of the speakers, that debate, which room do you go to who do you listen to, what breakout room? And I actually was able to listen to that one I didn't get to hear because you already had the recordings up to listen to, and I really appreciated that. It's nice just to go in there and
Yeah, those of you who are waiting for day 2 recording, I apologize. I fell asleep, but they are coming after the show. I promise you will get your day 2.
You had to sleep. No,
No
sorry.
sleeping allowed, Monica.
The Sandman caught me, and I was like, oh, that didn't happen. But we will get those to you today. But you mentioned the chat, and I want to kind of bring that back out, right? Because why it's so important to actually come live, right? Yes, you can go back and watch the recordings of everything, but one of the reasons why it's so important to attend them live is because a good chunk of the inspiration also comes in the chats when you have other people who are chiming in, when they're helping you pull out what someone said. Like, so I saw the requoting of people in the chats. And another thing in the chats as well, like the chats are valuable all on their own. If you just went back and read some of the amazing things that were kind of being pulled out. And I loved that they were kind of, like they were just snowballing, right? Like everybody's like, oh, that's a good point. And they were so supportive of each other and so supportive of what was happening, that it really is kind of an experience that if you can actually attend one live and be in that space, the camaraderie that comes from the chats and the connectivity that comes from that space was great. So I'm going to give my inspiration, and my inspiration actually was not a speaker at all. All of the speakers were amazing, but my inspiration was Carrie. So Carrie was a guest. This was her first time ever coming to a conference. And at the end, I asked everyone, I was like, whose first time is it? And they had them raise their hand. And I chose her because I always ask the question, questions, comments, rude remarks, right? And I'm always ready for the rude remarks, however they came. And she said so vividly that everything that I wanted someone to experience out of this conference. She said how she loved that she could actually just ask the questions of the person right then and there, in the breakout session, and that she was like, I'm learning. I didn't know some areas that I wasn't thinking about, before, and you kind of ask those questions of me to reflect inward of me. And I didn't know I was bad in that section until we started talking about it. And then you gave me a person to talk to almost immediately afterwards. And that to me was so inspirational because, there are times all of us have in our businesses where we're not sure we're making the right decisions, right? It's not popular for someone who is in the coaching space, and our program is not a coaching program, but in the coaching space to kind of give in this way. And be connected to other people. But I had this vision of like, well, we can all collectively help one person way better than we could independently. And so when her comments were just that of like, it made me look at every part of my business and my life. And then when I had that question, someone was there to catch me, right? And give me what I needed so that I can ask that question. And they were just so honest with me. That was so inspirational to me. I was like, yes, I love it. I'm going to keep doing this work. I don't care what happens. Like I was just so inspired to keep going, because you guys got to understand, it is a lot of hours behind the scenes to make all this go. But I always say, if one person gets their life changed in a profound way, it's worth every single solitary second. And so Carrie is actually who inspired me the most out of this experience, because she told me everything I needed to know about we are all on the right path. And this batch of people, and going after heart-centered entrepreneurs and connecting them all in this space and having these long weekends and all of the work that we put into this, it's worth it. Keep going, because there are more Carries out there who want that experience. And so she was my own personal inspiration from this. So guys, let's talk about the networking, right? Because why not? The theme was activate the hero within, and Terry Lee shared the quote that we did last show, so I won't share that one, but here's another quote about heroes, which hard times don't create heroes. It's during the hard times that the hero within us is revealed, and this is by Bob Riley, right? And so as we all kind of went through this 2020 experiment of our lives, we did kind of have to find the hero. And I love that there were so many people on the panels and in the conference who were inspired to kind of help activate not only their own heroes, but the heroes outwardly. And so the question that I have for you guys, because you know I always have these lovely questions, is how was the networking? Let's really get into how you felt about the networking and all the different ways that you were going to be able to communicate with all of these people. They gave all the ways, am I right?
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
I'll start, since we've been putting you on the spot for so long now. This is what you get for saying, you always pick me last. Now you're like,
No, I was
going
going to go, but I mean, you guys, sometimes I don't want to take over. Go ahead.
I don't mind, but I think that the networking was great. I know that my Instagram, my Facebook, and my Clubhouse, I've already had like dozens of new followers from this conference that people have reached out, and I've reached out to a couple of them, and already, and it's Monday, and we finished up yesterday, and I've already seen a lot of connections, sincere connections, not just, and LinkedIn. This LinkedIn is a space that I'm trying to be much better on than I currently am. LinkedIn is one of my many social media struggles, but it is important. And I actually, somebody mentioned somebody had a cute video on their LinkedIn. I was like, oh, I don't follow them on LinkedIn. Oh, I don't follow anyone on LinkedIn. Maybe I should should do that. But yeah, so I think that there's already been some connection. There's already been some direct messages, a little bit of conversation. And I think that's important, because too many times than not, you go to a conference or you go to an event and you feel all warm and fuzzy and you're all excited and you have all these great intentions. And then Monday you go back to work, and Wednesday you're like, oh yeah, there was somebody that I want to connect with. Where's their, I can't remember their name. They were the one wearing the purple shirt. I can't find, oh well. And that's what happens more oftentimes than not, I feel. And so one of the beauties of having a digital conference is that we're already here. Like, oh, let me just copy and paste that. We don't have to write anything down. We don't have to remember it. We can literally plug it in, immediately. So that's, I feel like for me, that's a struggle. Like, people shove business cards in my hand. I'm like, oh, okay. And then, you have great intentions and it doesn't happen. So I feel like I've made some real connections.
Nice. Val, what about you?
Lots of
can
people
hear you. There you are.
There you go.
Lots of people I've connected with already. Like, I've got some dates already set to meet with some of the people that have been, I've been in conversation with, and just I could talk to everybody that's gone to the conference and really come away with little nuggets here and good connections. So I don't know, networking is pretty huge in this event.
Yeah, I would have to say that a lot of the same things. People are, because it's digital, we're right there in between breaks. Boom, hi Andrea, let's connect, let's do this, or thank you for this, or I just love how, because of these conferences, I have learned to engage on LinkedIn, Peggy, because everyone else, well, I don't want to say everyone outside of the US, but the people we have attracted that are international use LinkedIn in ways I'm like, I didn't think of that. And so thank you, because it's made me develop more, because now I LinkedIn, let's connect. And people are so nice. They give you these nice messages. It's just like, I'm like, blimey, this is awesome, right? And so, and then people, the networking is great because they'll like you there, then they'll go, oh, you're a friend over here. Let's be a friend on Facebook. Oh, and we said put in your whatever Clubhouse. I mean, I have an account, and somebody was like, oh, I Carmel, who should be on Clubhouse. I mean, I just was like, oh, Carmel, I have some invites, and I got 3 people going, well, I want one. Why can't you give me one? I was like, okay, here you go.
Yeah,
Like,
I gave out all of my Clubhouse invites this weekend too.
I was like, okay, I guess better go figure out how to get more of them. I don't know why I have them even. So it was really, we bring the world together. Like, I feel very connected to people so far away that I'm like, this is a little surreal. I used to tease my teenager, you're on your phone too much. And now they're like, who's on their phone too much now? I'm like, this is my work. They're like, Damien, to his point, was like, yeah, I'm going to do TikTok. I'm like, don't say that, because my children are like laughing at me because I barely understand TikTok, right? And he started talking about TikTok, and I'm looking at him like, you look normal. Did you just say that? You're an adult, and you're talking about TikTok. So it made my ears go, okay, don't sleep on it. Just sort of like, someone invited me to Clubhouse, and Peggy and I were talking about it early this morning, like, it's actually kind of how to fit it in, because it's one more time investment. Like, these are all time investments. So I'm excited at the entrees that I've been given, and there's definitely room for conversation and putting in, like you said, Val, those real connects to understand what people do, because you want to connect them. I mean, I'm like, half the people in the room, like, what do you need? Tell me what you need, because I probably know somebody. And it's easier for me to hear that than me talk about myself, which is one of my bad networking skills. And that's why Monica and I are great at this, but bad if we were like really talking about other things. So I'm like, I saw myself writing it. I was like, because it's just more comfortable. But it's always, then it's easy when you do need something. Like, by the way, oh, of course. I'm like, oh yeah, I did help you with this, this, and this. I don't even remember, like, you helped me with this, you helped me with this, you helped me with this. And I'm like, I did? Oh, okay. I would have done it anyway, right? So this is the great part about the networking and the breakouts. And we had breakouts after breakouts so people could chat. We do have side halls or whatever you call them. So the networking is great, and it's definitely making the world fit into your phone.
Zoom.
The palm of your hand. The palm of your hand. Really, that saying, like the world fitting in the palm of your hand. It is here. It's in your phone. I mean, we can take it anywhere with us and connect with so many people. It's great. And Carrie was one of my sheroes of the event too. She was just a natural born connector, like very, very amazing in that way. So
He actually sent me a really sweet Facebook message.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, this woman came out of nowhere, putting professional networkers to shame. She had something great to say to everybody. It was really, she's awesome. So
Yeah, so one of the differences in our conference versus other conferences that she also highlighted was, and Daniela also highlighted at our little happy hour moment at the end. She was like, I don't think I've been on any summit where you actually feel like you could text the person who gave you all the good information. Like, usually the speakers are on like a pedestal and they're like untouchable, and no, I'm the professional, you can't, right? And but this doesn't feel like that. And that was intentional. But I love that she said that. She's like, I felt like I could just text someone who's awesome and they would have my back. Like, it'd be like, oh, I need help with this. And they'd be like, okay, no problem, come through. And you can have a conversation. And so that was one of my favorite things that someone said. I was like, yes, we're doing it right. But also I had kind of encouraged them. I'm like, listen, if you want to, we keep the chats kind of like free of advertising so that people can kind of copy them later and then go back and read the information. But I was like, direct message the person if you like them. It's a Zoom call, right? So ultimately you can direct message any other person in the space. And so I know Andrea and I had like little side, ooh, yeah, I can't wait to go and go and talk to this person. We had little note passing sessions, and I got some notes passed from some people as well. that I won't put them on blast, but I
Oh
can put
yeah.
Andrea on blast all day, every day, right? But the note passing behind the scenes, and so everyone just felt super kind of connected and just like accessible. And the accessibility is really kind of a piece that I think a lot of people, when they see people who are out there rocking it, they're like, oh no, they're too big for me. I can't possibly direct message them. And in this space, we're all here learning, we're all here sharing, we're all here giving from our own area of expertise. And we're like, kind of like, oh, well, I have a little bit of this here. Let me pour you some. And oh, can I have some of yours? And oh yeah, sure. No, I'll pour you some too. Right. So like, we're like sharing in that way. And so the networking, these it's kind of weird to say, but my conference is kind of my favorite networking space because I love watching people kind of make those like synergetic connections.
It's a big
And
dinner
so
party.
it was just really lovely to see that. It is. It's like the best dinner
It's
party
like the
ever,
best
right?
dinner
Like a little
party.
big square.
We have themes, their colors, and then we talk, and then we're like, switch, next meal. Okay, I look
Lively
at it like a dinner party.
conversation, little codes off to the side for you to have deeper, more profound conversations. It's just super, super fun. So I'm hoping those of you who are like, well, why do this and why be a part of it, if nothing else, for the global networking, and not to mention Terry Lee, who brought it
Woo,
with the
that was
mastermind power lunch conversation about international networking, and she gave some really pivotal kind of like things, and which is why she is my networking superhero myself. Like that's the avatar. When I grow up, I'm gonna be like her one day. So the last, the last piece of of our conversation is always gaining knowledge, right? And that is super important for us. So why should someone really get the pass? And we have different passes, but I want to hear from you guys why the pass, the 30-day pass, and now the annual pass is going to be useful for them. And I don't know if you guys remember the annual pass, but you get all the playbacks
I didn't know we had one.
of all of the conferences at your disposal for the entire year. So why would somebody even care about this?
Okay, so I call it MinkLife Masterclass. That's what it's like. The masterclass series that all these people have, and I gifted my daughter one, and she's like, "I went to masterclass today." Da, 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 da. Well, you can now do that with MinkLife. I think you told me. Guys, I'm sorry. There's an annual. I knew there's a 30-day and a 7-day, but now that there's a 365-day, that's huge, and you can really we have people speak on different things a lot of times. So Val might have done her topic this time this way, but then Monica will be like, "Hey Val, I need you to talk on this." And Val will be like, "Okay." She wouldn't say it okay like that, but she might go, "All right, Monica, that's a little bit out of the whatever." And yet, it's great hearing her perspective in that new place. So that is going to be huge in terms of the value of going through from the beginning of this year through the end of the year, because we're going to more conferences. Oh my goodness. So we have more conferences coming. I don't want to steal your thunder, but we're going to go all Australia all the way, or that part of the world. So it'd be Australia and kind of like parts of Asia if they want to hang out with us, right? So that will be fascinating. That's going to be just awesome. So that's going to be such a bargain.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Peggy, what about you? What are your thoughts on the?
I think I actually covered this before you answered the question.
You did.
There is too much. I mean, I missed too much. I mean, there's just too much to digest in a week. And there's some that I saw that I would like to see again, like the one that I was talking about. I don't know,
Carmel.
Whoever she was. But I want to, rewatch that, and because you hear things one time and you get, this, and then once you have time to kind of digest that and think about that, then when you watch it again, you may hear, now that your thinking is on a different level, you're going to hear something else. You're going to get even more out of it. So that's how I do things, though. I like to, okay, I got this. Give me a couple days. Now I want to revisit that. What else I really like what they said. I'm sure I missed something. So let's get some more out of it. So yeah, there's just too much information. The value is way greater than the price.
Way greater.
Yeah, the pass is only $397 for the year.
Really?
And
And that's,
yes,
I didn't know the price. I was hoping she would say.
conferences.
I was like, I hope she would
Yeah,
say the prices.
but
I didn't know.
yeah, $397 for the year. And you get all the playbacks.
So what just happened here, for all of you viewers that don't realize, is Monica just put the price in stone before we could discuss with her that that was the wrong price and she should charge more. So that's what just happened in Andrea's face.
Right, I'm like,
the beautiful part about it.
I'm like, oh,
The prices may go up.
Prices may vary.
You might decide to hop in while they're crazy.
I think you should jump on this while they're still this low before we all get a hold of Monica. I would highly suggest you do that soon.
Like her commercial.
Before conferences, Monica.
I was like, this crew.
Jump in here. So you're talking about master classes. I mean, all year long. And the other point that you know keeps coming up is that I spoke on a topic, but someone else will come along and you have a totally different angle on that same topic. It gives you so much more perspective. I mean, just get the pass, because I mean, if you just do this one pass for the year, you're covered.
Set and forget it. Tune in, tune out, come. Yeah, it's definitely a great.
I just feel I know you didn't ask me, but I'm gonna throw this in. And I know Monica's looking at the clock going, "Shut up, Peggy." I always feel like, you know, everybody at these conferences are really coming from a business, like power business kind of point of view. And I always feel like Monica asked me to be a part of it because I kind of like bring the, oh yeah, but this is how I see it, you know, from a different point of view. You know, I don't come from a business background. I am a photographer.
Live.
And
we disagree. Facebook world, we disagree because she has been a working photographer who has taken care of and fed 3 children on the salary of a photographer, right? So if that ain't business, I don't know what is.
That's true. I have always had a brick and mortar studio for 26 years. I have owned my own, you know, place, and that's something, especially nowadays.
And you haven't had to have it as a side hustle. It's the full time. So no, you are a businesswoman live.
But I still think I look at it a little differently than you know, somebody
you're creative. You're creative
with an you know, more of a, that's more coming from a business education point of view. And I kind of, it's like, yeah, but practically this is how this works. Like those are good for the books, but think about this. And so I think I kind of, and I know there's a couple of, you put a little spice in there, little sprinkled spice to get different point of views. And I think that's because you go to any conference or any schooling or anything, and you see how it works on paper, but real life is never like it is on paper. So the more different angles and the different points of view that you get, the easier you can go, oh, okay, so this is happening, so I'm going to draw off of this. Oh, this is happening, let me draw off of this. So the more different points of views that you have, the better you are off, because you have a bigger picture. And that goes for so many things besides just this conference, but that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I wanted to do the annual pass is because I really feel like the library that we are creating is really going to be valuable because of that reason. So we cover 24 aspects in life, business, branding, and networking. And every single time, even if the person does the same talk, we have a conversation before of how it's going to be different this time, and what perspectives I want them to look at, like in a different way. But like I said, Val covered, like we were all saying, Val covered the first time business processes. And this time she was talking about customer experience. I know Val to be a multifaceted person and have multifaceted understandings of different parts of business. she didn't necessarily think that of herself. And so, and again, I heard both talks and I was like, oh, this is good. And so I think, I just feel like you can't hear too much about one particular subject, and you definitely can hear about it from different voices and different kind of ways of it being communicated, and it'll land on different people differently. And so I wanted to give people that opportunity. But not only that, if you are in Los Angeles or in the Americas, right? You get to come to these conferences and be kind of like in your wits, right? Like you're actually in a time zone in which it's like, okay, this is reasonable hours for me to be thinking. But when we go to Australia, some of us will have to do it overnight and may not necessarily be in our wits about it. So showing up to that particular conference and not necessarily kind of really grasping it because my brain is not awake enough gives the opportunity for me to go back and say, okay, I heard it, I felt it, but now let me go back and dive in. And again, under promise, over deliver. So if you want the crazy pricing, please let us know in the chat. Because as you can tell, everybody on this call told me that they're too cheap, which means very soon they will not be the price that they are. So if you want that price and you want to lock in your annual pass right now, go ahead and drop in the chat or direct message me or direct message MinkLife Motivation, and we will make sure that you are on the waiting list for the crazy pricing passes, so that when we do settle on a different pass price, you don't have to pay, you don't have to feel the pain of that. You get to benefit from my crazy. So it is time for us to go. But before we go, we always do my favorite part, which is announcements. So what is happening in your world, Val? What can we connect you with? How can people work with you?
People that want to reach their GBGs, their great big goals. I'd like them to connect with me.
Absolutely. And Val is currently helping me with a ginormous goal on a regular basis. So I highly recommend, if you have a huge goal, Val can definitely be the person to help you kind of walk there. So connect with her. And I believe Alana has already dropped her information in the chat. So go ahead and connect with her in that way. Peggy, how's it going? I know you launched a new section in your business.
I did. I am now making promotional videos and commercials for businesses and entrepreneurs. And I, of course, made a little quick one for myself that you can find on LinkedIn, since we talked about LinkedIn. But I'm starting to do that. I'm getting a lot of people interested. I've got 2 people on the books for February. So that's pretty exciting. I'm also doing consultations because of this and other platforms that I'm on that is global. People are asking, what can I do to make my business pictures, my headshots, more effective? And as you know, I am all about not just getting a pretty picture, but getting a picture that works for you. So I am doing consultations via Zoom. Obviously, I can't take your picture if you're not in the Los Angeles area or willing to come to the Los Angeles area, but I can give you some tips and mindsets and colors so that when you go to your photographer, you can, really know what to ask for and do.
Yeah, and she actually did do some lighting consultations for a few of our speakers, and night and day, guys. Literally night and day.
And they gave you props during the call. They totally said, Peggy, help me. This is why I look like this. We're like.
And I literally, one of them, I did just a 15-minute thing. I'm like, okay, lift your camera up, move this over, move the light here. And to me, that was just like so simple. And, but I have to remember that, and that's why we need each other, is what you just take for granted, somebody else is totally overwhelmed and clueless about. And this one, for some reason, I didn't take a before and after. I should have taken a screenshot. I was like, you should tell me do you have a screenshot of you somewhere? Because it literally took us 10 minutes and, it was night and day. And I said, I think I'm going to open, that's going to be my new venture is
Zoom fixing.
Zoom meeting. Yeah, Zoom meeting, because we're all doing Zoom meetings, like lightings and backgrounds for Zoom meetings is going to be my new business.
Offshoot.
Nice. Andrea?
Well, I just started the first detox rejuvenation cleanse for 2021. It just started on Thursday. So
Mhm.
that's an 8-week program, but I'm going to start the next group through Group B. That one's going to go live February 18th. I'll have links to sign up for getting started webinars where I explain my not typical my atypical cleanse process. People are like, we're going to do what? I'm like, yeah, you'll see. So that's going on, and that's what I'm going to do when I get off this call. Besides network with all of my new friends from the conference, I'm going to start getting that together for the new crop to come through.
Yep. So the world needs you all. Answer the call, and if you haven't figured out how to activate the hero within, you should absolutely do so. If you were at the conference and you want to share about what you thought of it, please, please, please comment on this video. We want to know what you think. But I'm also excited to announce that the next conference is Embody Change to Thrive. If 2020 didn't teach us anything, it taught us to be okay with change and to make it, I shouldn't probably say that in public. So to make it our own and really embody it into the world. And we are going to be in 2 different time zones for these conferences. So the first time zone is going to be in Los Angeles time zone, April 24th and 25th. And then we're going to be in Sydney time zones on May 6th and 7th. And we are looking for speakers. So if you want to be a part of this movement that we are creating change around the world, we're helping people become the best versions of themselves. We need you to help people do that. So come with us. This Thursday at 6 p.m., we are having our Mastermind Power Mixer. So feel free to click the link below. I believe it actually is in the post already. And join us for the Mastermind Power Mixer, where you can meet MinkLife Motivators, you can share a commercial about your business, and also learn how you can grow with MinkLife Motivation. Look at this lovely shot that Peggy shot of me. And I want to give a special thanks to all of the speakers, Lee Chris virtual PAs who made me look like Beyonce in that joint. I mean, I just look so great. And it was because they were in South Africa, really making me look amazing. But for this show, I want to thank Alana, who is our producer, my co-host, Val. Thank you so much for being on the show, Peggy and Marcia. Shout out to Big Marcia for making everything look fabulous. And remember, you have the power to activate the vision within you. Sharing is caring. So please, please, please share this experience, share this video. Let people know that we are here every single Monday to help them get motivated, stay inspired, keep networking, and gain knowledge so that they can live a life designed by them, for them, healthier, wealthy, and fulfilled. We will see you all Monday with our new topics. Bye.